Now this cell was a fairly healthy cell. It used to be my Norco 100 volt bike last year. It does self-discharge enough that it had to be removed from a pack, so it's still not a bad cell per se. It's still usable, but it's not perfectly balanced with the others, so that's why I removed it. I got a 6 volt supply onto this cell right now. We're sitting at 4.25 volts, and I don't expect anything to happen till well into the 5 volts, but we'll keep checking in and see how it goes. Right now the battery temperature is 26.5 degrees. I'm sure we'll get hotter. So we're at 4.33 volts and 2.3 amps in and 2 amps and 400 milliamps overcharge. Okay, we're at 4.5 volts and 1 amp hour. So at this point I've put 6 amp hours into a 5 amp hour cell, and check the cell, it's not even warm, it's cool to the touch so far. Alright, so now we're at 4.6 volts. There we go, 4.6. I've managed to put an extra 2.2 amp hours over full charge. So a 5 amp hour cell is now at 7.2 amp hours. Next step is to over discharge it. So I've set up over here a galvanized rod and with booster cables I'm going to pretty much dead short the cell and see how many amps I can get out of it, and see if we can make some smoke that way. So we'll set all that up and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're pulling about, according to the clamp meter, 55 amps out of a 5 amp hour cell, so that's a 10C discharge. Cell temperature is 26 Celsius. Just to show you what's going on here, I've got jumper cables clamped onto a piece of galvanized steel. And over here I've got a clamp on meter that says, not sure if you can see that, but it's 49 amps, so about 50 amps. And cell is at 3.9 volts. Cell temperature 36 Celsius, 37, 43 Celsius. Okay, now we're at 3.2 volts, and Lipo should never go below 3 volts. Right? 3.0 is generally known as the cutoff point. So now we're at 3.0, and 2.9, 2.8, 2.7, 2.6, 2.5, 2.4, so now we're way into over discharge territory, pulling 25 amps over discharge and 1.6 volts. 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, and 1 volt. Okay, now at this point I'm going to disconnect the load And the voltage will bounce back 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. And we're at 56, 57 Celsius. So the cell's pretty hot. 58, 59. And at 2.7 volts. So as you can see, there's no more capacity left at that discharge rate. But as soon as you remove the load, the voltage climbs, so we're going to hit our 3 volt mark. Now I'll give it one more little blast just for good luck. Get it below 1 volt. There we go, 0.9. Okay, so that's significantly overcharged and significantly over discharged. Now we're going to charge it again. Alright, so now I let the cell cool down a fair bit. It's back to ambient temp. Plugged that guy into my iCharger 3010B, and we're gonna go Lipo charge, and let's crank all the way up to let's say 15 amps. Okay, so that's 15 amps, 1 cell. Not sure if the camera will show that. Oh, there we go. 1 cell, 15 amps. Now this is a 5 amp hour cell, and it's said on the label that it should not be charged over 2C, which would be 10 amps. So we're 5 amps over that limit. But, here we go. Battery check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 amps. Now the voltage jumps right up to 4 volts. And at this speed, the cell should be charged in about 20 minutes or less. You can see the milliamp hours counting up there. 100 milliamps already. And we're at 4.2 volts. Okay, so now the current's going to taper down. The cell's taking 14 amps, 13.5. So the charge rate is reducing because the cell voltage reached its maximum for the charger, which is 4.2. And on this side, nothing yet. Keep an eye on this and turn the camera on should anything go on. We fully charged after the last discharge, and last time was a little too slow with the 2 amp wall warts. So now I'm using a 12 volt lead acid charger, and we're overcharging the cell at 16 amps. So voltage should rise pretty quick. We're at 4.35 volts, 16.5 amps. 0.4 amp hours already in. The wires are actually getting pretty hot. I just crimped some Andersons on the end of the alligator clips, and I got clip on clip. Whoa, 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 we got some smoke. Alright, I guess the lead acid charger didn't like that too much. If I get any smoke today, well, there it is. Oh well, so much for that. We'll have to open that up and see what let go. Alright, so after frying the lead acid charger, I'm back to the iCharger, and I set it to NiCad. Alright, so we're at 4.61, 4.62 volts, and still charging at 4.5 amps, and I put 1.83 some amp hours overcharge into that one cell. So I'm going to call that even for round 2 for the second cycle of abuse, and put the alligator clips back on and drain it to 0 volts again. Back in a bit. Pair of jumper cables is nothing heavy gauge, just the resistance of the wires is what's limiting the discharge to 60 amps. Actually 50, at this point it's 50 amps. So it's quite surprising that of all the horror stories you hear about Lipo, I've managed to overcharge, over-discharge quite significantly, and this cell hasn't even puffed yet. There's no signs of the swell or the cell swelling. The seams aren't pushed out in any way. 2.8, so now we're into over discharge on the second cycle. 2.4, 2.3, 2.2, 2.1, 1.8. I'm gonna let it drop right to 0. 1.6. And that's the end of cycle 2. So you can see how I dead short the cell.